today's, oh, one quick thing here before we get started, actually, again, you'll notice that in the camera view, where all the panelists are, there is the one picture of, it looks like a camera is on the 6M. And correct me, any guys on this, if you click on the three little dots icon, so if you hover your mouse over the 6M picture, there's three little dots, you should be able to pin that video. That will make that the video that is, will always show regardless of who is talking. Thank you, Zach. And also, I believe that if you put your mouse in like the lower corner, or actually if you go to side-by-side view, I believe, correct? And there's maybe some icons that allow you to choose that for the different views. Or I believe if you put your mouse in the lower corner, like if you change it to a single view, I think, and you put your mouse in the lower corner, you can kind of expand the size of that camera window. So throughout the presentation, if you want to watch Zach show the 6M doing different things, you can do that from that camera view. So again, pin the view, choose your video size, make it bigger. That'll help you along. Cool. And moderators, feel free to just interrupt me throughout this if there's anything that comes up that's urgent, or any question you think is appropriate for me to answer at that time. But I'll try to stop periodically. Okay, excellent. So let's talk about the 6M. So the 6M it's a great product. This is effectively a special effects module for the, it is a compact module for the special effects industry. So this was really designed not necessarily as a module, that's meant to be a, primarily for pyro purposes, for fireworks shows, due to the price, because this unit is $249 in the base unit. And then there's some different options you can choose, which will be showing like a mounting bracket, different antenna and adapter options. But what this really is designed to be compact and small, okay? It's designed for movie applications, actors, any types of special effects, theater, really anything where you need to place a module in a very, very small area. That is the purpose of this unit. And you'll notice that in here, we'll have a little bit of a reference for a credit card. Also, Zach, if you want to you'll notice he used a AA battery. You can also see the unit in his hand. So that'll kind of give you a sense of how small this unit is. One thing to note is on our website, if you go to the 6M page, you'll notice that we have everything, dimensions, specifications, features, all kinds of information. So pretty much everything we've covered today is also included on the website. But it is a very small unit. It is made of aluminum. If you do drop this from a decent height, it will survive and continue to operate. So it's really kind of a very just rugged overall compact firing module. This is a great picture because it really kind of shows the guts of the unit. You can see here that this was actually a very big challenge for us to build this product. The challenge wasn't building a 6Q module, it was being able to fit everything into a very compact size, to build it in such a way that it has a standard lithium battery, which is that kind of blue item that you'll see within here, which we'll cover a little bit later, and also to add varying different types of gaskets and things to create a certain level of water resistance. And also, as I mentioned earlier, just being rugged, being able to drop it, kind of beat it up a little bit and not have it damaged or break. The 6M does employ a membrane keypad, right? So this is kind of our first adventure into membrane keypads. You'll notice that the keypad has a bit of a gap right here. That is not a gap into the unit, but rather a gasket that actually kind of sits and seals a bit around the unit. This unit is water resistant. We do not suggest having any level of a persistent rain on the unit or to submerge it in water. However, if it does get a little wet, that's okay. It's not going to damage it. You can use things like plastic bags and stuff like that to kind of protect it. But overall, the system does have a decent level of water resistance, but cannot be submerged or left in water for quite some time. Also, on the membrane keypad, all the buttons employ a bump protection. So you do have to kind of press and hold buttons in order for them to work. This is to prevent accidental pressing of buttons to make changes. So for example, if an actor has this in their pocket or strapped to their body, brushing up against the unit, hitting things temporarily won't change the functionality of the unit. It'll continue to operate. The module does have a standard rechargeable battery. The battery is a 14.8 volt lithium 4-cell battery with 550 milliamp hours of power or life. And this battery will last for about 22 hours of active operation, or around 66 hours of sleep mode operation, which is pretty good. All of the firing specs conform to our current 18M modules with LiPo, so they'll fire 10 in series, 4 in parallel, with regards to igniters, MJG, or Talons. Obviously can't fire Talons in series, but it's a great battery life. This thing has a lot of life to it for the size of the actual product that you're purchasing. One thing to note on the battery, you can also use the standard 18M or 36M module chargers, right? So any of our current module chargers work fine with the 6M. The unit does have a Db9 connector. So this, very similar to us using Centronics 50, Db25. We've gone with a Db9 connector. It's a bit of an old school connector, but one of the benefits is that it has a lot of contact area for the ground around the edges, and also for the pins on the inside. So a nice separation of pins for connection purposes, and some essentially some holes in there to allow for the knob screws to hold on the adapter plates, which we'll get into. We do, one thing to note, and we'll cover this a bit in the adapters, that we do offer a shunt as well for the adapters, which we'll cover here in a second. Now, because we use kind of an agnostic design with the Db9 connector, we can support different types of adapters. So you'll notice here that this is probably one of the more popular adapters. This is the 6M terminal block adapter. It has these green terminal blocks that have a small flathead screw on the top. The unit does come with a keychain with the mini screwdriver included. And the benefit of this is when you're placing the wires into this terminal block and you screw them down, it provides a very strong hold. So if someone were to pull on those wires, they will not come out easily. And that provides for, a decent amount of strain relief, for, again, wearable applications or areas where you want this to really permanently kind of sit. In addition to that, just kind of mentioning the shunt, and is, if you did have stuff wired to this terminal block, we do offer a shunt that we can actually place on the other side of this that will shunt those items for safety purposes. Okay, and if you're watching this on YouTube, we will have a link within the video description to show that. This is actually our 6M quick plug adapter. This is, again, very similar to the terminal blocks, but using our quick plugs, which is pretty straightforward. And we also offer a Db9 to RJ45, which is a traditional Cat5 cable slat adapter. So any of our slats, quick plug slats, or just traditional speaker terminal slats will all work with the 6M. Also, by using these types of adapters, you can build your own custom kind of DIY cables. So if you have a Cat5 cable that you want to cut and splice those wires into any type of custom application, you can do that. You can also purchase on the internet Db9 cables, and you can do the same thing with those. You don't have to go through the adapter. So the Db9 connection really kind of allows for an agnostic type connection to different custom or standardized ports or adapters. And also within the link of this description, the link of this video, or with, excuse me, the link within the description, we'll have the pinout as well. So if you're curious what pins go to which queues, those will be available for you as well. Joel, I think you've got a little bit of a poll that you want to throw up. So kind of curious, what type of 6M adapters are you planning on using with the system?
We also had 2 questions, if you would like to
Sure.
answer those, Scott. Jay would like to know what the range of the 6M is.
Absolutely. So the range, we'll cover this a bit more with the antennas, but the range of the 6M is effectively the same as any of our other modules that we offer. The antennas that we provide with it have a very slightly reduced dBm value, but overall, it's using the same transceiver, the same internal cables. It also operates fully with our mesh system. So the 6M units are effectively the same range as everything else. And for the 6M, as far as replacement parts, if you do go to our website, you'll notice that any of the Q adapters, cables, slats, all that stuff is available. You know, if you do damage, you know, it is housed in an aluminum enclosure. So, you know, if you do need replacement parts for it, if they're not on the website, you can contact us directly. But hopefully you're not damaging that. But if it does get damaged, it is a completely modular design and can, in fact, be repaired. The antenna, one thing, so Jason asked if the antenna can be upgraded. You can use any of our antenna extension cables on this unit as well, right? And again, note that even though the antenna is slightly smaller, the range really isn't compromised. Okay, so you're talking about a 2 dB value. So if you're out there and you're seeing like a 70, that would technically reduce it to like a 68, right? Okay, we'll cover your key switch or your safety switch for arm test in a second here. Okay. All right, did you show the results, Joel? I can't remember.
Yes, I did.
Perfect. All right, so to answer the question on the power switch, if you look here, you'll notice that there is a 3-position switch on the unit. It's designed to be recessed within the unit. So if you kind of, you know, brush, and you'll see Zach, if Zach kind of rubs his hand over it, if you're wearing this, if it's in your pocket or you brush your hand up against it, it's difficult to accidentally turn the unit off or to change its effectively its position. So that's completely by design, which is quite nice. And you will notice that it does have a test in an arm position. So if the switch is in the test position, there is a kind of an electromechanical prevention against firing internal to the unit. In addition, by having the switch in the test position, it prevents the remote from ever firing it. So there's also a firmware protection. So both a firmware and a physical mechanical protection by having that switch within the test position. Again, very similar to any of our modules, you know, including the 18M, 36M, and 72M. And with the antenna options, we offer 2 different antenna options. We have a rigid 4-inch omnidirectional antenna, and then we also have a flexible 8.5-inch omnidirectional antenna. Both of these share about the same signal strength, and in fact, the flexible antenna is pretty cool because we chose not to make a pure wire antenna, which would have had dramatically reduced range. Instead, we kind of built almost a hybrid antenna of having the rigid end combined with a very small extension wire. And by using this technique, it allows you, for example, on actors or different applications to kind of taper mount that antenna how you best see fit. But that rigidity end does provide better range compared to a pure wire, but you also get the flexibility of the no pun intended, flexible wire to support better concealment. Excellent. So the next is the physical mounting bracket of the unit. You'll notice here, and in fact, Zach, if you show the back of the 6M, there's actually 4 blind holes that we've molded into the 6M. Those holes support the mounting of the bracket on the back of it. And the purpose of the mounting bracket is to support essentially mounting this to varying types of surfaces. That includes surfaces that you may want to screw on, or you can also use, for example, straps, or in fact, I think Zach's going to put his belt through here right now. So you'll see that he can actually work his belt through the actual mounting bracket. So it's a pretty flexible and cool mounting bracket that can support all different kind of methods for affixing or securing the unit, which is pretty nice, and it's also fairly inexpensive to purchase with the system as an option. We've also got a couple of cool software modes that we've added. This one is called dark mode. So if you're on a set where you don't want any of the display elements to be turned on, for example, if you're on a theater set and you don't want any lights blinking or anything, you can actually press and hold the light button on the unit for about 3 seconds, and that'll actually completely shut off the display of the 6M. Now, even though the display is off, it's actually fully functioning and it will fire, right? So it's essentially a way to turn off the display. There's a couple of different dark modes. There's one of them that actually just turns off some of the other elements. But if you go to the link in this video, we also will link to those as well. Or if you just go to our help.cobrafiringsystems.com, go to the 6M user guide, we also have a section on the different hidden modes that are available. Queue selection is another software feature. So it is only a 6Q module. However, if you press the test button while also pressing either channel up or channel down, this will allow you to toggle the unit between queues 1 through 6, which displays as 1, 7 through 12, which displays as 7, or 13 through 18, which displays as 13. Once you change the queue range, that is remembered on the unit, regardless of whether you turn it on or off, which is pretty cool. And what that allows you to do is have the 6M operate as either queues 1 through 6, 7 through 12, or 13 through 18. So for example, you could put 3 6Ms all on channel 1 as an example, and have 3 different queue ranges and have all 3 of them represent a single channel, which may work well for you for manually firing on that channel, so you don't have to change channels, or if you're using the auto fire feature for doing fixed time delay sequences, which is something we commonly see in special effects applications, for example, things like bullet hits, strafes, airfield strafes and things of that nature. Excellent. A couple of small additions that we're coming out with. Again, this is a very specialty application, so you'll see specialty additions. This is a Db9 to dual RJ11 split connector for firing airbursts, which commonly airbursts have some adapters for RJ11. So this is kind of a cool little cable coming soon. And we also have a 6M storage container, not yet available, but also coming soon. And this is really nice. It's actually using the hard foam material that goes into an 18M that you'll see, or in our new foam material for the 18R2. And you can actually fit six 6Ms within this storage container, and also have a very healthy compartment for storing other things, such as your antennas, Q adapters, cables, things of those nature, into a Seahorse SC300 case, which is the same case that we use for our 18R2 carrying case and also our 18M armor case option. Cool. So Joel, do you have any other polls before we dive into question and answers? All right. How are you planning to use the 6M? All right. I know there's some funny ones in here.
Well, don't give it away.
I didn't give anything away. I just laughed and made a comment. All right. This is a good poll. Do you have any more polls besides this, Joel? This is the last one.
I do. They're more for the after presentation, if you will.
Ah, perfect. Not a problem. All right, so I'll take a quick look at the Q&A here. Have you tested the 6M mod in theater settings with wireless video, asks Alan. The 6M has been used in, I believe, in theater settings. I know it's been used on movies, a variety of different, what you would expect for the special effects unit to be used. It does use the same transceiver as all of our other systems. And, so there's really, from a wireless communications perspective, it's really not all that different from any of the other modules that we've used, which have been used for years in theater, movies, any types of special effects applications quite successfully. Excellent. I'm very glad to hear that people are doing the right things with their planning the right things with their 6M. Good job. All right. Let's see here. Why does COBRA's other firing modules use a key but not the 6M? The 6M seems more convenient since there's no key to potentially lose any change to bigger modules to get a switch-only switch. So the 6M doesn't use a key primarily due to size. That's one of the biggest reasons, is trying to fit a key switch onto the 6M. Also, NFPA requirements don't actually require the key on the 6M. We've had some individuals put switches on their bigger modules. If you email us if that's really important, I think there are some options that we can send you links to if you want to create your own little switch harnesses. But we do use the key on the module, just I think due to a bit of popularity and safety, but again, that could change, but we have not changed that to a standard of a switch at this stage, Seth. Output and battery life strength. So the module battery is exactly the same as you would see in an 18M, just with slightly reduced life. So 22 hours of active operation, 66 hours of sleep operation, and I kind of mentioned it in the presentation before, the same firing power as our other modules, so 10 in series, 4 in parallel for the LiPo battery. And yes, Jeff, the 6M does perform mesh functionality, so it employs all the same mesh features as everything else that we have. And Guy, we made the COBRA 6M for the special effects industry primarily, but it can also be used in firework displays where needed, or any other applications where you need a compact module size. All right, excellent.
That was a drinking question, by the way.
Oh, did I see? Because why? Oh, was it?
Special effects.
Special effects, got it. I took it too seriously. All right.
He got us all good.
You got us all good. I know. Sorry. Special effect, like I'll do Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. All right. Special effects, special effects, special effects. All right. Any other questions? Could this be used as a switch for lasers through, I believe, DMX setup? I'm not too familiar with lasers that are fired from Q outputs, but maybe if you emailed us, we could better help you with that. It's certainly not a replacement for DMX, the 6M. So, all right. Well, if anyone, I'll kind of use this as an opportunity to. We're going to kind of hang out here and answer a little bit more questions with the Q&A, but we did kind of finish. This was a very, no pun intended, compact webinar to help everyone understand the 6M. So we thank you guys so much for your time.